All right, Trade Pros. Good afternoon. This is Mark from Trade Pro Academy checking in from our headquarters here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada on today's date, June 26, 2019. Saw in the comments there I said 2016 on yesterday's update. My apologies for that, losing track of time and my thoughts. So let's take a quick look at what's been going on in the markets this morning. A couple of economic releases came out this morning that Georgie covered. I'll do a quick summary. We had core durable goods orders. The month-over-month figures came in at 0.3 versus 0.1 expected. Nice little beat on that front. We also had U.S. May preliminary wholesale inventories month-over-month figure, slight miss at 0.4% versus 0.5 expected. What else did we have? We had the preliminary durable goods orders minus 1.3 versus minus 0.2% expected. Durables ex transportation 0.3% versus 0.1% expected. And capital goods shipments non-defense ex aircraft came in at 0.7% versus 0.1% expected. On the U.S. session, couple squawks that came out as well. President Trump mentioned it is possible we can reach the deal at G20 with China President Xi and avoid additional tariffs. Plan B on China is doing less and less business with them and taking more and more tariffs. So, bit of a mixed message there, kind of mentioning that it's coming to a potential deal. But also, if it doesn't come to a deal, we're just going to take a hard stance and do less business with them and take more tariffs from the business that we are currently doing with them. Another squawk from Mr. Trump mentioned perhaps U.S. will sue Google and Facebook, and Twitter makes it hard for people to follow me. These execs are all Democrats. So again, pointing fingers at the Democratic Party, and also stoking some fires under the butts of Google, Facebook, and Twitter, which not too sure what they're looking like on the session, but I would imagine they are a little bit weaker on the session on the back of that. Main news with regards to crude oil today is the EIA inventory reports. Crude jumped up overnight on the back of a pretty nice build in API oil inventories. That came in at, it was expected to come in at a draw of minus 0.8 million. The draw came in at minus 7.6 million, which is quite a sizable difference, quite a sizable draw, which essentially is bullish. That just shows there's less supply. When you remove supply out of the equation, basic Econ 101, as well, there is less supply, the demand for that goes up, and bit of a rally on the back of that news announcement. So that was overnight, and this morning at 10:30 a.m. we had the EIA inventory reports, and that came in at a even more sizable draw than was expected. So crude actually was expected to come in at minus 2.5 million draw, came in at minus 12.8 million draw. Gasolina as well, minus 0.5 million expected, minus 1 million is what came in. Distillates as well. Distillates were quite interesting. Distillates, there was an expectation of 0.5 million, so 500,000 barrels, and it came in at a draw of minus 2.4. So a draw across the board overall. And, a draw was expected, but when you get a larger draw than expected, that's even more bullish. So we saw a bit of a rally on crude. It's given back some of those post-news announcement gains. And, we just bounced off of the VWAP. So based on that inventory, crude should be going higher on today's session. And that's basically everything that I see on the docket so far. Let me just confirm that to double. Yep, that's basically it. So that's all the news that we've got at the moment. Just keep a squawk handy just in case there is any updates, especially as it relates to that U.S.-China trade war. The G20 meeting is going on. So any updates from Xi, from China side, or from Trump and the state side, will be pretty important and can move the markets. So that's what we've got for you guys on that front. Let's jump onto the charts here. Let me get off of this sucker, off of this camera, onto the charts. All right, and there we are. So what you guys should be seeing right now is my quote board. And what that quote board is showing you is that we've got pretty light volume here on the SPOOs, 760,000 contracts, nothing that great. Yesterday we were just about above a million, and you've been seeing the days that have greater than a million by this time generally tend to be more trending days, direction, trend, or days with direction. And the days that have that reduction in liquidity tend to be the choppier days. And that's kind of what we're seeing now. We did sell off on the open. We are still below the open, but it's just been taking its time. Super choppy range right now. And super choppy range. They're still looking for downside. I'm personally still looking for the 2920s on the SPOOs. There's been some big liquidity sitting down there. And, it's just kind of consolidating this market structure, and I'm looking for a press back down. That's essentially what I'll be looking for. Tried a couple shorts up in that range, got paid near the bottom of structure, seeing it couldn't break down. Then I took a long back to the top of structure, and it's still kind of not doing much since we signed off from the elite team. So that's what we've got on that front. On the crude oil, around 540,000 contracts. This is just about on average, not bad. Daily change percentage up 2.78%. And yesterday's close was 58.81. Current last trade was 59.44. And so that's where you're getting the daily change percentage from. So crude up on the session. Stocks, neutral to bearish on the session. And that's pretty much what we got as far as the quote board's concerned. You've got crude, we're above pivot, above R1, above R2, into R3. Traditionally, R3, R4 considered overbought territory. So it wouldn't surprise me to see us press back down into your R2s, maybe into support structure here around those 58.80s. So that's what we've got on crude. On SPOOs, we're looking at the pivot, this move up into the pivot to be a potential lower high. Just seeing the fact that, we broke above those previous highs, failed to make a new high here, giving us a potential lower high. And then this recent breakdown right here gave us a lower low. That rotation up is holding, gives us a lower high. And now we're just looking for that to roll over below those 2920s, which is what we're targeting. And that's kind of why I'm targeting that level, is just because you can see on the chart right up here, these guys have been on here for quite some time. And as we're kind of consolidating this and not breaking out, I'm thinking, we've got nice structure right up in these 30s that every time it comes up, we're seeing sellers defending that. So I think, this is the top of the structure right up here. Seeing this structure, just looking to sell the top of this structure for those moves back down into these bid inventories sitting down here. That also lines up with your previous day low. Overnight low sits at 17.5, couple points just below that. I think that's a pretty good target for today's session. Crude oil, I just mentioned what I saw on the pivots. As far as the actual chart itself, you've seen almost came into the view app and held it. Another opportunity here. This thing, it looks like it might be transitioning at the moment. We said it was pretty overbought. I am seeing this. I am seeing the fact that we had this consolidation here, broke out, made a new level, broke back below that. Now we're coming back into this consolidation here, and we are seeing that hold. So I'm watching for a move down to that view app, see what happens there. If we break below that, bearish trend will start being in on crude, and you can look to sell rallies. So if we get that breakdown below that view app, look for a move back down to the open. From the open, look for a little bit of a rip to get short somewhere around the overnight highs to the view app. Is what I'd be watching for. That's what we got on those charts. Now let me pop onto my TRADEPRO performance index. And just hide some of these demo and the actual things in here. And now you guys should see what I'm seeing. There's our TRADEPRO performance index. There's our numbers for today: 62.79% green, 58% we're up, 4 and just over 4.5 were flat, and the remaining 37 were down. I am in the down camp today. Was down a bit more, covered a couple, so I'm marginally down at this point of the day. We'll see if I'll keep trading. If the opportunity presents itself, I'll still might look to try to get a short back down to those 20s. We'll see what's going on. But what I wanted to mention is the fact, still green overall, great strong month. I don't think we've had a single overall negative day this month. Came close here on the 6th of June. However, we've stayed above that 50% for the whole month, and we've got another 2 days? Yeah, another 2 days left in the month of June before we close that book out, and start the July numbers. So that's what I got for you guys today. If you will continue trading into the remainder of the session, our 3 rules by now: patience, diligence, and discipline. Until next time, until tomorrow, guys, good luck and good trading. We will see you then. Ciao.